Hey, it's Neon Dream Games, and this week I'm going to talk a little bit about a little game I made following a tutorial and also a bit more pixel art and maybe even some questions for you guys. Okay, so I don't know if I have a ton of new things to talk about this week, but maybe I do. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So previously in some of my last devlogs, you had seen me making some characters and things, and I was going to try this idea of making my own pixel art for a tutorial, or if I wanted to do any tutorials, I was going to try to make my own pixel art instead of using the tutorials included art. So I made these characters, and I'm just going to share my screen. So I made these characters. Anyways, this is like the layout of it. It's a battler thing. It's like a menu-based battler. You can put what character sprite you want into these player and enemy things. So right in here, because the character was made out of this character node, it just shows that as default, but the enemy here is going to be this guy. So I'm just gonna show you the game. Basically, I made this battler thing, and you just click on something, you say I'm gonna slash, then it's his turn, and this is real rudimentary. You can't hardly even see any damage happening other than the health bar goes down, which I made a tutorial on the other week on how to make this health bar work the proper way. So I can stomp on him, and so he'll heal. If there's a random chance that he'll heal, I think it's a little bit more as he gets lower in health. I can heal, and he's just going to keep attacking me. He only has the slash attack though, so it's pretty much impossible to lose or anything. There's no challenge to this, but that's how it works. I can heal again. He healed himself, so I stomp, and he healed again, so I'll stomp him again, and he'll heal, and then I'll kill him with a stomp. So obviously this is a bad game in that regard, because there's no challenge to it. I would have to do something to make it so the stomp action or whatever has limitations. Maybe you have to charge a meter up or something. Maybe I can make another health, or like another progress bar underneath where, after so many slash attacks or whatever, you build up that bar so you can do a stomp attack or something like that. That would be one idea I could do to tweak this game. And I haven't decided if I even want to work on this anymore. I did this to just kind of learn about a few different things. Actually, this I used a lot more export variables in this tutorial than I had ever used before. So that was kind of an interesting use of export variables. And I'm going to need to think about export variables, I think, a little bit more. But I also used resources. So these combat actions, these are over here in an array, but all these combat actions are resources. So like this is the slash, and I don't even remember how I did. Oh, down here, combat actions, heal. I can't even remember how I did these things, which is partly a problem of doing tutorials. These are all resources, so I created a resource. Oh, the resource is probably in the script view. Combat actions. So the resource exports a name, and put slash and whatever it does, 5 damage or something. Then it actually has the variables for the damage or heal, depending on what it is. And you create a resource. So I created heal, slash, and stomp. And yeah, that's basically it. And I either could continue on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I continue on with this? Do you have any ideas on how I could just wrap this up into a little mini game? I had a couple ideas myself so I made other enemies. I didn't realize that, before I went through the tutorial, in the tutorial he showed the assets that he was using, and there was 4 enemies. So I made 4 enemies. Well, in the tutorial he only uses 2 of them, and kind of they leave it open that continue to use the other enemies or build upon the game. So I have 2 more enemies. I could be like, once you take out one of the enemies, the next one comes in, and you go through progression to get to the final enemy. I had an idea where, like, after you defeat an enemy, you get like a choice on if you want to like increase your health, or maybe it's like heal, or I don't know, gain a new ability or something. Those are just some thoughts that I had if I wanted to just further tweak this out. The thing is I don't want to spend much time on it. This isn't anything that I'm passionate about, but I thought, I don't know, could I do anything to it to just wrap it up and make it sort of like a little mini game that I could release on itch.io or something? I don't know. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but that is what I had sort of worked on in the past week. And obviously another thing I could do also was when they take damage, I could maybe make a visual sort of indication that they took damage, like a little animation of, like, I don't know, the figure vibrates or flashes red or something. Those are just some ideas. I'm thinking about just moving on to a different tutorial altogether to continue to learn some new things, because like I said, I know about export variables and I have used export variables, but I have never used them quite to the extent that I did in this. And I've never used resources. There's another tutorial that Devworm has on resources, and I need to watch that. And I think I probably should here in the next week to further expand upon my knowledge of resources. See, these are just things I think I just need to know. I'd like to know how to do a state machine. I think there's a tutorial on how to do a state machine. I do have an idea for an actual game that I want to make, and it keeps sticking in my head. I have a couple ideas, but there's one that's kind of winning right now in my head, and it's sort of like a fishing game. I don't know why. I don't know why I would want to make that, but I have sort of a different idea for it in a way. But I want to move on and show you a sprite because I've got some things to show, and I guess I kind of would like some feedback from you guys if you are willing to give it. Now, yes, I generated basically all of this with AI, and it's super sweet, but I'm doing this as sort of research because you guys have seen at the end of every one of my videos is my character Neon. I want her to be sort of the mascot of the company. I want to make games that have her in the games. And so even for this like first idea of a game I have, I'd like to have her in the game. So I'm trying to hone in on, for one, what kind of pixel art do I like? And that is where I'm running into problems because, so this is a 256 by 256 canvas. I wanted to see like, what can you get? What does a character look like when it gets to that level of detail? And honestly, I really like this, but I also understand that this is much harder to work with in regards of animation and everything. You're getting into a lot more detail here, a lot more nuance. So anyways, let's just run through some of this. So I put a piece of some of the art that I had for Neon into here to use as an init image, a reference image, basically, to generate some new art with. And, first kind of came up with that. That's not bad. Actually, this is a later iteration I did. I mean, this looks nothing like my character, but it's the potential that I see, the detail and everything that I really like. Here was another one. So this one was a little closer to the one of my character. Obviously, there's things I don't love about it, but I'm getting a vision of what is capable. And these were just fresh images without using the reference. That's where I came up with these images. And just for fun, I tried to do like a little walk animation that the thing does. I didn't do anything to clean this up, so it looks like absolute garbage and it's all wrong. But I was just trying to get an idea of what that might look like. Anyway, so I don't know what to think. I like this level of detail, but so this is 256 by 256. Now we go down to this. This is 128 by 128. And I was like, well, how does that level of detail look? So again, I put this image in of my character, and this is kind of like what it started to pop out through some of these references. And then it got weird with some of this, like it wasn't filling the frame or just randomly made this face. But honestly, that doesn't look bad. Like, this gives me ideas on what to do in creating my pixel art and what it's capable of. Again, this one didn't do the full character in frame, so this is going to be almost more like a 128 by 128 size in a sense, which this one fit in the frame, and I kind of like how this looks. You know, I mean, as far as like detail, like, so I'm trying to think, like, can I get by with this size? Yeah, this was one character where I just tried to use the rotate tool, which this program does really well with that. Animating, I'm not so sure, but I started with this image and I got all these different angles. It does really well with rotating the character, so I like that. Then I went down to 64 by 64. I didn't put my reference image in here. This was like the only full screen image it gave me at 64 by 64. So these ones, again, these more like 128 by 128, just crammed into a 64 by 64. I don't know. I don't know what I think. To me, so let's open up my female adventure character again. So this is a 64 by 64. Now this was more heavily tweaked and created by me, and I don't mind the final look of this character. I was working on a run cycle. I hadn't even, it's really bad. It needs heavy tweaking. The walk cycle's, you know, pretty good at this point, which I've already shown. So this was manageable to work with as far as pixels go and everything. I'm sure I could make my neon character in this size and I'd be sort of happy with it. I mean, it's really this size down here in the preview window. That's really what it would look like. But again, going back to these other sizes. So I think the thing is I like human, like more realistic human proportions instead of the typical, like, kind of that 32 by 32 chibi style, whatever. I'm not a huge fan. I love this level of detail, but I feel like this would be a nightmare to try and animate, and, you know, at 256 by 256. So this is where I kind of need some of your guys' thoughts and opinions on what do you do here. I mean, I guess it depends on how much time you want to spend on your game, I suppose. And that's the thing. I don't want to spend forever on my game. I suppose if I spent a little time just to make this mascot character of mine, that's one thing. See, the thing is, I'm trying to think of how to make my game without having to do a lot. You know, I just want to make a simple game with a core mechanic, basically. And I don't know. I'm trying to understand pixel art. You know, how much time and energy does it take to, you obviously don't see many games with this level of detail, and I'm guessing the reason why is because it takes a lot of time and effort. It's not the same thing as a 32 by 32 or 16 by 16 size piece of art. There's a lot more pixels to deal with, and even in a sprite, I mean, I suppose I could, let me just mess with one of these, I guess. I suppose I could, you know, take an arm and, you know, rotate it or move it or something once I get it. I mean, this would slightly help, I suppose. I mean, I do have to do a lot of, you know, final touch-ups and tweaks to it, but I could even cut it off at the elbow, and I could rotate that a bit. I mean, that's just one way, I suppose. You know, you could sort of tweak something. A lot of touch-up work would have to be done. But how else do you guys take a character of this level of detail and manipulate it? Or is it just that you really can't, and you really just have to sit there and hand draw all these images? I'm really just trying to learn how to streamline things, and maybe that's just not possible. And for all of you that want to get on my case about AI, I mean, that's just the truth of the matter, is I'm going to be using AI. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Move along. I mean, I'm going to use it in some capacity. This is amazing for me to get reference to do this. Now, I know I can't just, like, obviously, look at this. This is garbage, you know? I can't use this, so I'm going to have to figure out how to hand animate and everything. But this just all gives me reference points. It gives me an idea of what is capable of, because I can't always find this information online very easily. In fact, I was just trying to look online about, like, at different characters and different, you know, what does a character look at different sizes in pixel art. And I was having a hard time finding, like, a reference sheet for something like that, especially when you get to this size. I was having a harder time finding that information. Anyways, this is getting to be way longer than I wanted this video to be, so I think I'm just going to cut it off here. These are the things I've been working on. Yeah, let me know. I can't imagine many of you have stuck around this long to the end of the video, but if you have, and you have some knowledge on these things in particular with the pixel art tips and tricks, or videos even that maybe you want to reference me to, or anything that might talk on this subject a bit more, I'd be happy to hear it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Same thing. If you have ideas about the game I was working on there through, following that tutorial, should I flesh that out? Should I just move on, learn some more skills, and start working on my fishing game idea, which, I won't share the details other than to say I'm thinking about making this fishing game. And it's sort of part of a larger thought, or a larger idea for a future set of games, I should say. That's all I'll say for right now. And that's the bonus you get for staying to the end of this video. If you stayed to the end of the video, you could leave a comment, certainly leave a comment on response to any of my questions. Or if you just want to leave a comment and say future, you can just say future in the comments. Then I know that you guys watched to the end. I mean, I already know. I can look at the analytics. I know not many of you do, but I am appreciative of those who do. And here I am. I'm rambling on. This video is getting way too long, so I'm going to stop it right now. Thank you for watching. I don't know what's going to happen by next week, but that's how this channel works so far, until I start figuring out a better pattern to do for videos. Anyways, I've been talking about Neon. She's going to finish off the video for me, give you the call to action and everything. But until next time, keep YouTubing it up.
Thanks for checking out Neon Dream Games channel. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can stay up to date on all the latest videos we have to offer. Don't forget to leave a comment to suggest what kind of videos you'd like to see more of in the future. See you in the next video.